My name is Gary Lambert. I'm a registered nurse and health coach, and I want to talk a minute about health. Right now, we have a pandemic of health issues. The chronic conditions are just out of control, and the reason for this is because we're not addressing one of the primary reasons. You see, obesity is a side effect of being unhealthy. Um, Metabolic dysfunction is being studied right now, and what that is where the human metabolism is just dysfunctioning. It's not working correctly, and that's causing insulin resistance, which causes hyperglycemia, and that causes diabetes. One of the biggest things affecting this is ultra processed foods. And when we talk about weight management and diets and getting fit and all that, the American way is that if you're skinny, you're healthy. The reality is that being skinny or how you get skinny or how you lose weight also plays a big part in your overall health. Calorie reduction, calorie restriction, all of the diets, they're good in reducing your weight, but what they're not doing is making you healthy, either by restricting the amount of carbohydrates or increasing the amount of protein or reducing fat. All of these things are fine, except for if you're not looking at the bigger picture. Many of your sugar-free products are full of artificial sweeteners and flavorings, and all of these things are leading to metabolic dysfunction. That metabolic dysfunction, once again, leads to insulin resistance. And understand what's happening to our bodies, we have to understand that insulin resistance is where our body has to produce more insulin to get the sugar out of our blood. And to get the sugar out of our blood, it turns that sugar into fat. And so as you see this obesity rate increase, it's because all of us are making more insulin to keep up with the amount of sugar in our blood. And that in turn is turning the sugar into fat. And when you add into it, we have environmental factors. There's, microplastics, pesticides, all of the ingredients in our foods, the preservatives, the colors, all of these things are contributing. And then we have another thing called stomach, or let's see, what would it be? It would be dysbiosis, gastric dysbiosis, which is really just where the good bacteria in our stomachs have been killed either through antibiotics in our food or antibiotics given to us when we've had an infection in something. And then our medical providers don't emphasize how important it is to try to get that homeostasis back in our gut biome. And so our stomach is responsible for almost 90,000 different substances that our bodies need to function. And without them, we can't metabolize foods. We don't produce hormones correctly. All of these factors play into our health. And so when you're looking at gut dysbiosis, you're seeing that our rates, especially I'm 49, rates in gastric cancer is going up and just cancer in general. And we're seeing it because our inflammatory systems are constantly turned on. And one of the mechanisms that our body uses to turn off our inflammatory system is our gut biome. The good bacteria help regulate all of the things that our inflammatory system needs in order to turn on and turn off inflammation. And so we're seeing an increase in all of these inflammatory diseases, arthritis, multiple sclerosis. All of these things are stemming from this chronic inflammation. Arterial sclerosis, that's where the lining in our vessels is inflamed. And so when it's inflamed, it's kind of rough, swollen, And so that sugar that's in our blood has a place to stick to, and we're getting these plaques and all of this narrowing of the vessels. And so when we get this arterial sclerosis, our medical providers just give us a pill for either cholesterol if our cholesterol's high, or the same pill if our blood pressure is high, and they say, oh, well, you've got narrowing vessels. Here, take this, atorvastatin, all of your statins reduce the inflammation in your vessels. But they don't address the fact that our inflammatory system is hyperactive, and all of this inflammation is what's leading to, the sclerosing of our arteries, the sclerosing of our brain. In Europe, they're calling Alzheimer's and cognitive functions like that decline from sclerosing vessels in our brain, type 3 diabetes, because once again, we've got just this inflammation that's running rampant. So when you think about losing weight, when you think about getting healthy, it's more than just going on a diet and dropping your body weight. Obesity is a side effect of being unhealthy. Obesity is a side effect to our diet being out of proportion or not providing the things that our body needs to control inflammation, to have a satiety mechanism. When I say satiety mechanism, many foods contain high fructose corn syrup, and fructose triggers a part of our brain that was found in bears, that when you have high level of this fructose, when they were eating berries, these bears would eat berries and they wouldn't get full. So they would keep eating berries and keep eating fructose. So they would have enough fat for hibernation. Well, the food engineers found that high fructose corn syrup suppresses the satiety mechanism, and it also helps shelf-stable food. So if you've ever found yourself, I know I have, if you've ever been sitting there and you look down at a carton of Oreos and you wondered how in the world did you eat half or the whole thing? And it's because the sugars in it tell your brain to just keep eating and eating. So not only are the foods that we're buying at the store full of chemicals, but they're also engineered to keep us eating. So when you try to lose weight, when you're trying to get healthy, just remember that the food industry is working against you. It's not your willpower. It's not a lack of willpower. It's not you failing. But our food is engineered to keep you eating. So if you want to learn more, just tune into my next show. Thank you.